I'd like to play a game with you. Up until now, you just sat there as a voyeur watching other people in their videos without care about who that person is. Well, what do voyeurs see when they look into the mirror? Let's find out.
Good day! It's Wednesday, that's right. It's popcorn. Get your popcorn, get your nachos.
Oh, you might not want to be eating with this one.
Maybe not, yeah. These ones maybe aren't the most conducive to food consumption. We are going to play a little bit of a game. We're gonna watch the Saw franchises over the next couple of weeks here and talk about it. This week we watched Saw number 1 and Saw number 2. Now, these movies came out, what, 2004 was the first one, I believe?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
2004 was the first one. And then subsequent years after that, I can't remember if they came out every year or something like that. But, I forgot how good the first one was. I really did.
Yeah, no, I was kind of surprised. I figured that it was going to age really badly.
Yeah.
But it didn't. It was... The effects still hold up. It was filmed in a way that it doesn't seem like it was, you could see the strings behind the scenes, you could see the backdrop or anything like that. So I was pleasantly surprised.
Oh, yeah, I was I like the idea of it. Like, I remembered the idea of Saw, and I was like, I remember the Saw was like... But then, just to watch it again, and I went, that's really good.
You
really
definitely
enjoyable.
get that sense of... I think this... phrase popped up because of the Saw movies, torture porn, because it definitely is the money shots about all these unusual things that happen.
Now, because we watched 2 at the same time, I might intermingle the movies by accident. But now the first one, it wasn't just all in the one room, was it? The main part was the room, right?
The main part was a room, but they had that little bit outside of the room of the Danny Glover.
Yeah,
he was in it. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Danny Glover's in this." And then Donnie Wahlberg.
Donnie Wahlberg was in the second one. Yeah,
he was in the second one. I was like, "Oh my goodness gracious, he's in this one." I completely forgot.
Yeah,
and just watching them because what I found was because of how everything happens, that there are certain other elements to the movie now by comparison. Because when you first watch it was like, oh, all these things. This cancer patient doing all these things, and as the more and more Saw movies come out, that it wasn't just Jigsaw, right? Yeah. He had help, and there was other things. So
how does a cancer patient do all this?
Yeah, exactly.
Then you realize,
it's not just him. So when I'm watching, okay, did they actually do it right, where they had that sense of other people were helping, and it's just watching it, going, okay, this is the part where he's not involved, but one of his acolytes is. Does it seem like? And it's like, yes, because every time there's an acolyte involved, it's always the lady. She's always in the pig head costume. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that one works. And then in this way, that one works. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah. When the director created these movies, he had a plan, a long-term plan. And you could see it right from the beginning. It's not like he pigeonholed something into the first one to make the first one work. It was like, I know what I'm doing. I'm setting up these characters. So because they're going to be doing A, B, C, D throughout the entire movies. And when you watch it the second time through, you see the A, B, C, Ds of it all. Instead of just going, oh, well, the cancer patient got around. It's a horror movie, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, this is...
There's a little bit more of a story behind it. There's much more story behind it, really, when you think about it. And it's good that he had a vision of... Now, again, I've only watched the first 2. I don't even remember...
I snuck the third one in.
I don't even remember, if I've seen them all. So this is like me watching... I know that I've seen the first 2.
Yeah.
For sure. But after this, I don't even know if I've seen them now. So this could be a new experience for me. But to see the first 2 back-to-back, it was like, oh... It makes sense.
Yeah,
and you go, that's good.
Because these came out always a couple of years apart. Mm-hmm. So what always bothered me from Saw 1 to Saw 2 was that the same actress who had the... Because there's an actress in the first one. She was a survivor, and she had her...
the bear trap on her face almost, right?
Yeah, the reverse bear trap, right? And
it was the same one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it always bugged me that I thought it was somebody different.
Oh, yeah, no.
Because
I don't know if it's the same one through the whole franchise, but
well, it shouldn't be.
I don't know.
I
can't remember.
I actually looked it up on IMDb, and it is actually the same actress. I was pleasantly surprised. So it was interesting to see. It's like, oh, there's a string, and that actually works. Because, sometimes horror movies, you pull a thread and the whole thing unravels.
Yeah.
This one, not so much yet.
No, yet.
It might happen later on.
That's exactly what I'm hoping. I'm kind of worried that after the first couple, because there is 7 of them out, right?
Yep.
And there's an 8th one to be released in 2017 of October. So I'm just hoping that it actually can hold up, where the first little pin you put in number 1 can hold up through 7, and if you pull it in 7, it still goes tight, And so far they've done a good job. Everything that you look at goes, okay, this makes sense. Okay, this makes sense. Because like you said, people will make a movie. Not just a horror movie, but any type of movie, and they'll be like, oh, it did really well, let's make a second one. Then you watch the second one and go, that didn't make any sense.
Yeah,
because the first one.
Because they don't necessarily make the same connections.
Yeah, there's no correlation between the two. You're like, what?
So it's interesting that, like, when he did start that first movie, he had this plan, and so far that this plan is actually coming together.
Yeah.
And it's good. The little deviations that he has in his little traps are really, really interesting, because, what was it? Because I've read some spoilers about some of the things that happen. And in the second one, because it's the house one, and the one lady reaches up to get the antidote, and her hands get caught, and you pull down, and they are blades that cut into your arm, right? Well, I guess the key, if she had just went to the back of the box, there's a lock, and the key was in the lock, and all she had to do was do that, and she could reach in. And then knowing some of these things is kind of like, okay, because when he's talking to Donnie Wahlberg, the detective, where's my son? Where's my son?
And his son is
and he says, well, I want to play a game.
Yeah.
And all you have to do
is sit here and wait.
Sit, talk, listen,
yeah,
and your son will be in a safe place. The play on words that he does for all of these things.
And I think that's a great play on the human psyche, because that's exactly how we react. You see an antidote, people would just automatically reach in, and it's like, and and you hope that if you're hopefully you would never get in a situation like that, but that you don't think straight when you're kind of not thinking right emotionally, and I think it's great.
Now, I get it. He sets it up so you get to that point of not thinking straight, because if these guys were in a house and not poisoned, it would have been a different story, because you don't need to...
Maybe they weren't really even poisoned.
No, they weren't. One of the ladies died because of poison.
Yeah.
So, watching this whole thing going, okay, I know this person's behind the scenes, and, what does she do to egg things on, and just having everything happen the way it does, it's a nice, interesting, tight fit so far. Mm-hmm. And I've actually went ahead and started watching. I watched number 3, so I know it's actually, it continues to be a tight fit.
Way to spoil it.
No, but that's the thing. It's done. It's doing well, and they introduce a new character, and it's like the character shows up again in the next one. Even in number 2, when Donnie and his son are having that argument and they're walking away, in the background there's a guy fishing.
Yeah.
Well, you would never notice that guy normally, right? But I know that that was a pivotal scene, because Jigsaw actually says to the detective, well, what was the last thing you said to your son? And he looks at him funny, and he's like, well, you said this. And then it's like, well, how did you know that? Well, because I was the fisher in the background, right? And just watching it going, well, there he is. Because you always wonder, do you remember perfectly from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie? Because you know how sometimes movies start with the ending, and then they flash back and get to that point, and then it's like, well, do I remember the beginning? And is this the way it got to?
Yeah.
Or did they just set it up to make it seem like that?
Seemed like that's the way, yeah.
So that way you go, oh, okay. Right? So watching it, it's good. I like your choice. I was thinking, oh, this is going to be horrible. This is going to be dated, right?
That's what I thought too. I was like, because the reason that I came upon it is because I didn't even know how I got to it. I was searching movies on this website, and I was like, oh, Saw, right? I was like looking for a horror movie, and I went Saw, and I didn't realize there were so many movies.
I didn't know that there was.
I didn't
that
know
many.
there was so many movies. I didn't know they had a Saw the Final Chapter. I was like, what? I'm like, I've never seen it. So I was like, okay, let's just watch the whole franchise. Why not?
Yeah.
And so far, so good.
Yeah.
So far, these first two are great.
Yeah.
They were made, the first one 13 years ago, 14, 13, 10, over 10 years ago, and they hold up. Today you could watch them and go, yeah, that was good.
We did watch them, and it was like, this is actually pretty good. And if you haven't seen the Saw movies, they all have a connection to it.
Start at number 1 and go all the way to number 7. No, you don't have to do it in one night.
You could, but that'd be interesting. Next week, we're going to be talking about Saw 3, 4, and 5.
3, 4, and 5.
So, join us next week for that. But I would recommend actually watching 1 and 2.
Yes.
They're done really well. It was really enjoyable. And as I said, torture porn.
Start with number 1, and I think you'll find yourself going, because that's what I did. Because I kind of went, well, I like the idea that we were going to do this, but I kind of went, we'll see. I hope it's not a drag. And I watched number 1 and I went, oh, it pulled me in. That was cool. And then I went, okay, now I can't wait to watch number 2. Bam, number 2. So I'm hoping number 3, 4, 5 can do that to me as well. But watch number 1, and you will want to watch number 2. You will.
Yeah, and as I said, I watched number 3 because I watched number 1 and number 2, and I was like, ooh, I want to watch number 3. So I went ahead and watched it. I think I'm going to attempt to be watching 4 or 5 pretty quickly shortly after 2, because it's like, these were interesting, and I want to see how the threads
I'm just hoping when I watch number 7 that they tie something from number 1 and I go, oh my god.
Yeah, and go, wow.
I can't believe they did that.
Yeah, because as I said, he's done a really good job of throwing. So watch for these. Watch everything,
watch for
because they all, these little scenes that they show may just come across as like little fillers. No. They have a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
There is a purpose behind
more than once.
Yeah,
to understand it all. But guys, let us know in the comments below what you guys think.
Have you guys watched the Saw series?
Yeah.
Have you watched the whole thing?
Are you excited for the new one that's coming?
Yeah,
that I didn't even know was coming
yeah,
out
I
until
didn't
I looked
know
into
that there
it.
was a new one coming out.
It's called Saw Legacy. Apparently, it comes out October of this year, of 2017.
Yeah,
so
Halloween. So
yeah.
how appropriate. And I'm kind of just...
I'm intrigued by it.
I'm intrigued, too.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting to number 7 and going, well...
Yes, because you know that most of the time, when you get to that far in a franchise, by the last one, you're like, why did you make this? Please don't do this.
I just wasted 2 hours of my life on this.
So far, so good, guys. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And tune in next week because we'll keep going on this wonderful series, guys. Thanks. Later.
See ya.